Isaiah, it's so nice to virtually meet you and chat with you. How are you doing?
Likewise, I'm doing well, and you?
I'm doing well. I'm just so excited that our mutual friend Paris connected us together,
Yeah,
right?
same, same.
Um,
Love Paris so much.
yeah, he loves you too, and it's just like such a good vibe. So I'm really glad that he was able to put us in touch and connect and bring you on today.
Yes, thank you.
So, how have you been? You're so busy. You're currently performing in the North American tour of the Phantom of the Opera. So, for
Yes.
listeners who don't already know, you play the title role of the Phantom. So, how's all that going for you right now?
It's we just completed 300 performances of the show, which is insane to think like, oh my gosh, we've been going and going, and it's been a wonderful journey. Being a part of this amazing company and this iconic show, it's huge. It never really hits me that I'm doing this.
Right.
It's really weird. It's really weird because I'm like, wait, this is actually happening, and so it's an honor to be a part of this production and to do it, like I said, with this amazing company. I am I'm just excited about this journey. It's been a wonderful time, and of course, with any and everything, there are challenges that you have to face and walk through, and I've had a plenty of those. But I will say the overall journey thus far has been great and a huge blessing.
Amen to that. I mean, it's such a legendary production. And for you, correct me if I'm wrong, it's been about 9 months since you've taken
Yeah,
over the Phantom.
yeah.
Awesome. And it's your first national tour as a principal lead,
As
right?
principal,
How do you
yes.
feel about all that? That is amazing.
It's again, it's so cool. It's a beautiful, I say, a beautiful gift and responsibility. And I have been able to tour for the last, oh my gosh, since 2019, take away the COVID
Right.
shutdown time. But I've been touring since 2019, and I have had wonderful examples of leaders. And I have just watched from the corners how the leads of the shows that I've been in have held themselves and how they have led the company and how they led with grace. I've been blessed with some great leads in my life, and I have always said since starting these national tours and even just all other shows that I've been a part of, I always just take notes of um, how the leads in the show hold themselves. And I was like, I want to do this, and maybe want to do something different here. And I have had some great lessons, and so I've been able to put that into practice
Yeah.
in this show. And I, it is my hope that I am leading the company in a good way. And I you can only, I think, be I could be a good leader, but if you don't have like amazing people around you,
Of course.
it makes it hard. And because I have amazing people around me, it doesn't even really feel like I'm a leader. I just feel like I'm part
Love
uh, of a beautiful ecosystem of leaders too, and we all get to do that together. But having the title role or the lead role in this, it's an honor. But I take it like it's a beautiful responsibility to, yeah, just a beautiful responsibility.
And it takes the pressure off because you mentioned that ecosystem and you could be a great leader, but if you don't have that village around you, it takes sort of a team. So it's so cool to hear that. We'll definitely talk about more like, your performance and experiences on stage. But first, I want to say, like, I heard you're the first Phantom in the show's history to wear a custom bronze copper mask, right? Instead of that traditional white one we've seen for so many years, which I love on you, just seeing it. I haven't gotten the chance yet to see you in person, but through
Yeah.
pictures. Was that a personal choice, or how did that stylistic choice come about?
It was not a personal choice. It is something that the creative team decided that they wanted to do. Because in the book, we see that the Phantom was wanting to blend in
Right.
as much as possible, and the mask is just to cover up the scar. But because we've gotten used to the white mask, that's what it's always been. It's what's on the logo, and so they wanted to lean more into to the to what was intended for, in the beginning. And I think it's such a beautiful thing to bring it back in, or to bring that forward for people to see. And I know, like, not everybody likes it because it's different and it's a change, but I think majority can see that it makes a difference. It's like a something so, I guess it's not really subtle, it's really big, but like, to me it's like a subtle thing that just makes the Phantom even more human, I
Right.
think, because so many people see the Phantom as a villain,
Right.
and yes, he has some villain tendencies, but deep down, he is a human being that is desiring and wanting love,
Yeah.
just like any and everybody else, and he's just showing it in a different way, and he just needs a therapist,
Yeah, don't we all?
right?
Don't we all? But I personally like that because you mentioned how he sort of just wants to like hide. And so obviously you just put this like flashing white like, mask on. Are you really hiding? Like it shows more. So I like that it's like blending in a little bit more. I like that stylistic choice personally.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so before landing this role, I heard you were, correct me if I'm wrong, I heard you were almost going to quit acting. Is that right?
I was going to take a break
What's
from
happening at
it.
that time that led you to want to?
Yeah, I had left The Lion King on my own accord. I was like, it's time to go and grow some more, because if I would have stayed, I just would have become complacent and just lazy and all those things. And I was really kind of feeling like a caterpillar in a cocoon, where I'm just like, I'm irritated, but I know that there's something great. I'm in something great, but it just doesn't feel great. So I need to go out and
Right.
spread. And so spread my wings. Let me finish that sentence.
Yeah.
And,
To be clear.
to be clear,
Yeah.
because people will take a bite and
Uh-huh.
oh my gosh. Um, but I made the decision to leave Lion King and move to LA. And the reason why I moved to LA, one, we had the year before we had spent 2 months here. We're actually here right now, and I just fell in love with it. I loved the weather. I loved the vibe. It just it just felt like home to me. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna spend some time in LA. I don't know what it's gonna look like, but that's where I'm gonna go. So that's what I decided to do. And when I was here with The Lion King, I started teaching some vocal master classes at the Leslie Kahn Acting Studio, and that connected me with a lot of people and a lot of actors who were not primary singers first, but they wanted to grow and learn. So I was like, man, there are a lot of people out here that could, use a voice coach in that way. So I was like, let me move out here and see what that looks like. And so I did that, and things were not panning out like I wanted it to. And while I was also coaching and such, I was auditioning via self tapes, and it was just no after no after no after no after no. And I was like,
A lot of actors listening can feel that. They know that.
yes,
They all
they
go through it.
understand.
Yeah.
I'm sure they understand the no more than they understand the
More than the
yes.
yes. Yeah. That's the
Um,
business.
truly, and you get into this business and you know that, and I knew that that was going to be a thing, but I had figured, okay, I have this experience. I've done these two tours already. Anything?
Mhm. Right.
No. So I remember it was November 18th, 2024. I had just come back. I did two regional shows that year, and I come back to LA, and I was like, okay, well, when is the next thing, the next job that's going to be more than 3 weeks of work, and when is that going to come? And I was sitting at my keyboard. I was getting ready to teach a lesson, and I just started to weep. I was so heavy, and I was like, oh, I don't understand what's going on. Like, I don't want to give up. But if I am knocking at a door that is not even a door for me, then I don't want to knock anymore. And I need to look in the hallway and see which door is open. So I recorded myself, and I was like, I don't know when the time is going to come that that door is going to open, but I want to record this message so that I can look back and say, remember when you were in the moment of no, and you were in the hallway and didn't know which door you were going to go through. You didn't even see a door,
Wow.
so that you can look back and say, look where I am now. To remember that it's all a journey. This life that we're on, it is all a journey, and everything happens for a reason. And sometimes we put ourselves in situations where we have to go through things that weren't necessarily a part of the
Right.
journey, but that's okay. We have reroutes, and we'll take that reroute and we'll get back to where we need to be. But on this journey, there are going to be challenges and things that don't feel comfortable. And that was a moment I just didn't feel comfortable. But at that moment, I also felt this piece of, okay, I'm going to release this. I don't know what this looks like. I'm not giving up on theater, but I'm releasing my grip of it because I had it like tight, just tight in my fist. And if you have something tight in your fist like that, there's no way for it to breathe. There's no way for something to come and fly in your hands. You have call it just like unnecessary control over it. When you can have even more control if you just leave your palms open.
Mm.
And so that's what I did in that moment. And even after that moment, there were some more no's that came, but it wasn't as painful as the other ones had become because I was like, well, you know what? I'm going to go into company management, and I'll still be able to do theater. I love working with people. I love managing. I love organizing travel and all that such. So let me look into company management.
Yeah.
And as soon as I was like, okay, we're going to do that, an audition came up for Phantom of the Opera, and here we are.
So I want to ask you how you landed the role and how that audition process was like, but you said so much stuff that I need to follow up
Yes.
because I feel like there are a lot of people who are in the midst of that moment that you were
Hmm.
talking about, including
Hmm.
myself in different ways. When you
Yeah.
have that grip on something, but life, the scenario of life and the chapter you're in needs you to sort of surrender, let go
Yes.
ease, focus on your health, on your
Yeah.
all that stuff. And instead you're sort of just like, no, 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 I need that, I need this, I need that. And it's like you run yourself into a wall.
Yeah.
So for the listeners who that resonated with,
Hmm.
what is your advice? Like, how long did that last for you? What was your tactic of like, okay, this is how I can surrender, this is how I can let go? Like, how long did it take you to get out of that and realize like this is what I need to do to like to prepare myself for the next step, whatever that may be, whatever God has in store?
Yeah. That's a good question. It was from when I left. Let's see. I left Lion King February 2024. I did not book Phantom until I didn't get the news until April 2025. So from February, I did a show in the summer, and then I did another show in the fall. And it was in those in between months where I'm just like, okay, what's next? So I'd say it was maybe about 6 months of like, okay,
Yeah.
this is hard and this is very painful. And then maybe 4 months of like, okay, this is hard and painful, but let's find some hope in it. And then like the last 6 months was like, wait a minute, maybe all I needed to do was surrender.
Mhm.
It's like I was in the midst of like even auditioning for Phantom, like I was still getting no's from other things, but because the Phantom thing was like starting to look a little hopeful,
Yeah.
that spark of hope was ignited again, and I was like, okay, well maybe this is what I'm supposed to do. But then there's that negative voice in the back of your head
Mhm.
that's like, because when I got the audition, my first audition was for the role of the Phantom. Then I got a call back 2 months later. I thought I was
Right.
out of the running for it, the running to becoming America's Next Top Model. I thought I was out for it because the breakdown that they sent said the callbacks would be these certain days, and those days came and passed, and I didn't hear anything. And so I I allowed myself to have some hope about it, but I was starting to be like, okay, while I'm going to apply for these company management jobs, which I was also nervous about because I didn't have like a resume for
Right.
that work. I didn't have any experience,
Performing. Yeah.
because I've been performing.
Yeah.
So I was trying to figure out how to work my way into that. I
Mhm.
was still getting like other auditions, and they were still no's, but I was holding on to Phantom a little bit. And then when I got the call back, it was for the role of the Phantom and one of the managers. And I was like, oh, okay. They want me to be an understudy. And I was like, okay, I'm totally fine with that. This will be a great job. It'll be a great opportunity. Who knows what will happen? And I get, you know, to the callback, which I have never in my life had a callback where I had a month to prepare.
Oh,
I had an entire month to prepare
wow.
that callback material, and it was
Wow.
48 pages of music because there was two roles that I was learning.
Mhm.
And so that in itself was like just what I call a God wink, or just God being like, yo, I got this.
Yeah.
And then I got connected with a former Phantom, Hugh Pinero, who coached me. And that was another like, God's like, I got you. And then I get to New York for the callback, and I walk in the room. Meanwhile, I haven't been in an audition room in a very long time because everything's been self-taped.
Yeah.
When I get in there, the room is just so warm, and they are so excited to see me, to the point where I almost start crying because I'm like, whoa. It wasn't until after I walked out of the room where I realized that I had been feeling like I had allowed my identity of who I am, and I tell people not to do this ever, to allow what they do to become who they are, because it's two
I did
separate
that
things.
right here. I'm one of those people that needs to learn
We
that lesson.
we all do it, and I tell people that all the time.
So
But
bad.
in some kind of way, yes, it happens. It's so real. But in some kind of way, I allowed the no's to define the gifts that I have,
Right.
and in that, I was allowing it to affect my identity.
Right.
And when I walked into that room, it just felt like beautiful affirmation that I was not expecting, but it
Yeah.
was such a gift to me to remind me that who I am is still so great outside of what I do. And also, what I do is also great as well. So we get in the room, and they asked me what I wanted to start with, and I said we can start with the Phantom. So immediately they started working with me in the room. Time has passed, and we're in their overtime, and they said, well, actually, I know we have another role for you, but we actually see you more as a Phantom. So we want to do a work session, so we'll do that. We'll schedule that. And so I was like, okay.
Yeah.
room. So I walked out of that room and I sat in the hallway and I wept. And I was just like, if I don't get this, I am so fine. Because that experience being in that room was the most beautiful gift that I didn't know I needed. And it was just a reassurance of what I have. Because in that time when I was getting those no's, I was just like, maybe I'm not as good as I thought I was. And I need
Yeah.
to,
It's
you
human,
know,
you know?
yes, it's so human. And yeah, came back to LA. They asked me to come back for the final callbacks. Final callbacks happened, and then 3 weeks later, I was actually back at Lion King covering for them. And I got a call on a 10-minute break saying you booked the role of the
That's
Phantom.
amazing. You mentioned The Lion King a few times. I'm gonna have to ask now
Yes,
because
ask, ask.
Sweetie Jalen was on. Like, you know Jalen Lyndon Hunter?
That boy,
Oh,
I love him with my whole heart.
oh, that's so cute. I had him on like recently and he is such a
Oh,
sweetheart and he talked
yeah,
about the Lion King and being young Simba. So I'm just
yeah,
curious for the listeners, of this podcast who follow along all of you. I
yes.
always like to tie people together. What was your experience with him? Like,
First of all, Jalen is like he's he's a child that is a grandpa.
I literally told him, I was like, you're so grown and like mature for a 16-year-old. Like,
Yes, and I have known Jalen since see I met him in 2022, so before he became a teenager, like watching him grow up. First of all, shout out to his mom,
I was
Christelle.
just about to say his mom did a great job raising him,
I
genuinely.
mean, a great job. She's such a great mom to Jalen and to his sister. Like they
Tell off the bat.
I can talk about them all day. It's just an
Oh,
amazing family.
yeah.
And Jalen, it's in his blood. He's just a great kid. He's just a great human, and boy, is the boy so talented. I
So
mean,
talented, so wise. And what I love
yes,
at his age, like he's outspoken about his faith, which I think is so
yes,
rare nowadays.
yes,
I
it
look
is.
up to that. I'm older
Yeah,
than him, and I was looking up to that.
yeah,
So just all around, he has like so much God-given talent. Like he is a
yes,
performer. So I just wanted to know your experience with him. I
yeah.
was like, ah,
the
small
best
world.
the best experience ever. What is so was so special about his whole MJ experience
Yes.
is we were here in LA when he started to get his auditions for MJ the musical, and I had the opportunity to work with him vocally on that, which was such a gift. And like we knew he was gonna get it because it's Jalen. He's just like amazing. And then when the movie came, it's just like,
Oh,
well, duh, it makes complete sense. We all know you can tell those people that their life is going to it's going to bear some amazing fruit and do some amazing things. And he's just one of those people. And it's he's one of the right people because his heart is so pure and he's so wise and just a lovely young man.
yes, you know him. Obviously, you have much more like of a relationship with him than I have, but just from what I've crafted with him, I already feel that
Hmm.
towards him. And I feel that towards you already. Just seeing
Yes.
the way you lit up talking about someone else
Yes.
shows your love for being a leader, which was something we were
Yeah.
talking about earlier, because you could see the way you lead through that.
Yes. Yes.
So we're going to talk more about the Phantom in a little bit,
Yeah.
but I want to wind it back to your start in the performing arts. You grew up in
Okay.
Little Rock,
Hmm.
singing gospel at church.
Yes.
How did your faith shape you like along your musical journey?
Such a beautiful question. My and I will say my faith is still shaping me because I am growing and learning and evolving, and I I look back at when I started and where I am now and my history with with God. It's been long, and
Mhm.
it's been a journey, and it's been a beautiful one. It's been a hard one. It's been it's been one of faith, where I've never doubted, and this is not me trying to push my beliefs on anyone. Please don't take that.
Right.
But it is my life has proven to me God's existence, because there's no way in my own walk and belief and my journey, there's just no way I am where I am today without God's provision and his hand on my life. Because I can't make up the things that have miraculously happened to put me where I am, to starting at an opera camp, auditioning for this musical theater camp and this opera camp at the same time, and the opera camp decides to accept me, and I do this opera camp for 3 years, and the artistic
10
director.
at the time, right? Sorry to interrupt, because I was going to ask about that, but
Yes,
since you're already on
yes.
it. You were like
I
10
was
years
I
old
was
for
10 years
context.
old.
Yeah.
Yes, I was 10 years old when I started this opera camp. Had never heard of opera, didn't know what it was, and my music teacher in elementary school was like, "You need to try out for this." So we did, and ended up doing that for 3 summers. The artistic director saw me and a few other students and was like, "I need to build these kids up. I want them to be set up for college and success." So she started a college preparatory school for aspiring classical singers, and I was one of the chartering students in that program. And in that program, I was taught voice, piano, music theory, ear training, just like staging and all of that. And then that prepared me for it was just so random how it just came to be. I say random, it's not really random, but like it seemed random at the
Yeah.
time. And then how I get to high school, and while I'm in high school, I get introduced to the drama department. I didn't really like performing in front of people because I had to have my eyes open. In
Right.
opera, I could just stand still, and do all those things. But like in musical theater, it's just a little bit more. It was at the time a little bit more in depth than what I was being taught in opera. And so, like, being pulled, out of my comfort zone with that, with being kind of forced to join the drama team and the forensics team and the thespian team and performing for that, and then winning a scholarship to a university that I was going to go to study classical music in. But then my opera coach is like, "Yo, I need you to check out this university in Oklahoma." But I'm like, "We already have a scholarship here." And she's like, I think we can do something really cool with this school." And I was like, "Okay." Ended up getting a scholarship from Oklahoma City University. It was not enough money. They ended up doubling my scholarship. Still not enough money. And so I sing at this church one Sunday through the opera program, and this couple is there. They have never met me. To this day, I still don't know who they are. They decided, just from me singing a 2-minute song, that they wanted to help me in my journey. They wrote me a check for $20,000 to
Wow.
help me go to school. My opera coach then decides to create a trust fund for me. She is contacting businesses around Arkansas. All these people are donating money, don't know who I am. To this day, I still don't know a lot of these people.
Wow.
God's hand has been through my life. I ended up graduating Oklahoma City University, which is one of the most expensive private schools in the nation, completely debt free.
Amen to that. Wow.
God's hand has been through my entire life, like in where I was supposed to go. There'd be many a times where my mom and I were just like, "We don't know how it's going to work out. We're just going to trust." Every time, every time, every time.
I agree with you. I agree with you. There's so much I want to like uncover with that, Isaiah.
Yes,
That's
please.
beautiful, like hearing your testimony and
Yeah,
what that, how that shaped you.
yeah.
And for the people listening who don't know, like classical training is the real deal. It is tough. I was classically trained till I was 18 and I did
Yes,
theater. I was a thespian,
yes.
obviously not to the level you're at, like nowhere even close. I'll tell you that, but it is so cool. Like it was a tough thing. And so knowing that you starting at 10, just like I don't know, just the way your journey went and just graduating debt free, that's something that like is so impossible these days. Like in this day and
Ooh,
age, this country, I still got my student loan. So it's
yeah,
that is a beautiful testimony. Now, sticking with that, because I want to ask basically, you mentioned tough times. We all go through a lot of tough times. So I want to ask how your faith helped you outside of that, not just in your musical
yeah,
journey. But before we
yeah,
do that, I want to stick with the classical music. You started off with gospel, which is different. And
yeah.
then going into classical, what was that transition like for you?
It was so interesting because I was my voice, my contemporary style voice started to shift a little bit where it had a classical influence to it. But I was still able to create this contemporary sound, which I've been able to carry with me even in my adult life. When I got to school, I started to fall out of love with opera. One, because just the commitment that it took, I just was not fully committed like I wanted to because deep down inside, I just wanted to be a gospel singer my whole life. That was my dream. That's all I ever wanted to do. And I was like, if I can just make it through college, I can figure out how I can infuse the two. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to figure out how to infuse the two. Well, when I'm in, while I'm in college, I'm just like, I cannot do this. I don't look forward to singing. It is everything seems like it has to be perfect. I don't feel connected to this music. I don't know how to connect to this music. I'm having issues like trying to quickly memorize. I'm also so busy. I was leading worship at a church in college. I was involved in so many organizations, which I was doing too much. But while in those organizations and other things that I was doing, I felt so fulfilled and so much joy. Had I not had those things, I would have dropped out of school in the
Yeah.
beginning of the freshman year because it was just like I don't feel like I belong and I don't know how to navigate this. Later on in life I realized that I think there I have a learning challenge that I never really got tested for, and looking at like the the what do you call them? Not the symptoms, but the characteristics of like some of these learning disabilities or challenges I call them. I am like, I think I had that, and had I known that, or had I known that beforehand, I could have like
The
navigated college.
education to that. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
could have like navigated that a little bit easier, but all part of God's plan. The national tour of The Color Purple came through Oklahoma City, and in 2011 when I was in school, and I saw that show, and my heart turned flips that I didn't know that it could, and I couldn't sleep that night because I had never been moved by a performance in that way. And a few months later, there was a community theater that got the rights to that show, and I was like, I have to audition. I auditioned, and I ended up getting a role in the show, one of the leads in the show. And it was in that show when I realized, oh, I think this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be telling stories in this way right now. And I didn't switch my degree. I ended up keeping my degree, but the voice faculty, they worked out something so special. They kind of gave me a hybrid type thing where my senior recital, I was able to do a half classical, half contemporary musical theater recital. And because they could see I was doing a lot of work with musical theater outside of school, and they could see where my career was kind of going. And so there was another way that God just kind of maneuvered himself in my journey, of showing me that he was there, and that he could reroute me. where I needed to be. But had I not gone to school for classical music, I would not have had vocal pedagogy where I learned how to teach. I learned the science of the voice. So I became a voice teacher from that class. Had I not had, that training, I would not know how to sustain 8 shows a week, sometimes 9 shows a week. And so like I'm so grateful that my path went the way that it went, because I would not be where I am today.
Which is why I wanted to ask you, you know, your schedule's not any less busy than it was before. You are performing, you are traveling, you're on tour, you're really busy. So how do you continue to anchor in your faith during this time where you're so busy? Like, and you mentioned something that I also want to ask in the same question. You said, God kept showing me that he was there and that with me. Have you ever felt in the busyness that he's maybe not there with you one day? Like, how do you navigate that? So, sorry, that was a double question. Sorry, I
Yeah,
tried not to
I
do
love
that.
that. Gosh, how do I stay anchored? Ooh, the journey that I'm on right now is learning how to remain anchored with myself. Sometimes I depend on my anchors, my friends, my pastor. My mom is a big anchor for me for my faith. Like I can call her and like, yo, I need prayer. I help me out. And I know I can depend on that. But she's also been like over the past few years teaching me, yo, you gotta go to him for yourself. And I know that, but sometimes it
Hey,
feels
there's
it,
comfort. I do
yeah,
the same thing with my mom.
yes, yes,
She's like,
and
we
I'm
just
like,
had this conversation 10 times in the
yes,
past 10 days. You come
yes,
back with the same thing. Just go to him. I'm
yes.
like, but you're tangible,
Yes.
which
And
is
it's
tough.
like my mom has she has the front door keys to God's house. Like she can walk right in, talk to him, get the answer, and give it back to me. And she's like,
I
you
need,
also have that same access.
right.
And it's like, but I'm like, it's easier to go through you.
Yes,
It's
I'm
easier.
the same way. Same
It's
way.
it's it's so interesting. But I am learning that he has to be my anchor. But he has gifted me with such beautiful anchors around me, but I'm learning right now that I have to be okay that my time with him may not be an hour. It may just be 4 minutes. It may just be 20 minutes. But taking that time to
Right.
recalibrate every day, it is important. And it doesn't have to look like it did in the last season because we are in a different season right now. And he
Hard
is
not to compare. It's
right.
hard not to
It
compare.
is,
I constantly, I'm like, but this time I was this was blah blah blah
yeah.
that, and I'm just like,
Yep.
no, stop living in the past. Like this is now. It's
Yes.
a new
This is
season.
me
It's got to
now.
be navigated differently.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm walking through right now. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
what is our relationship look like right now, God? How are we hanging out? Like what is our hangout time? What is our time of connection? But I've also learned that I try to take God with me everywhere that I go. That I'm in constant communication throughout the day, and like having those set moments, but like taking him with me throughout the day, throughout my performance. Like there's not a performance that I perform that I don't pray for the audience, that I don't pray for the people that I'm working for. I like if you're coming to see Phantom of the Opera, know that you're being prayed for. Like that is just like
That's like such
that's
a beautiful love language, though. Like
yes. Oh,
genuinely.
that is one of my love languages that I love to give. I love to pray for people. Like it's an honor to do
Yeah.
so. And so like I make it a point. And there's some times where I'm like I've been rushing or something and I'm in the show and I'm like, I forgot to pray. So I'm like in the show, like trying to find moments where I can just like
Oh,
pray
as
for the
someone
audience.
else is talking before your
Yes,
your
yes,
mom.
yes,
It's like, let
yes,
me just.
yes.
I love that. That's so real, though. Like everything you said is so real, and I really am someone that believes in energy, and like
Mhm.
you walk into a room and you feel the energy, and I feel it. So like if you know
Yes,
someone's praying for you, that's like good positive energy being sent your way.
yes, absolutely.
No matter what your faith is. Like
Yeah.
I'm, obviously we're of the same faith, but even other people, like
Yeah.
The intention is good vibes being sent your way. So
Yeah.
like why paint it in any other way than positive, you know?
Right.
So
Because I
I love
want
that.
nothing, because my prayer for you is that you would receive God's best for you. And I know his best is good, and his best comes with so much love. And my prayer is that people would experience his love through my performance in some kind of way. It's just so important to me that people know that they're loved. I feel like that's one of the main reasons why I'm on this earth, is for people to know and to see that they are abundantly loved.
That's what God, I mean, that's amazing that he's using you as that vehicle, you know, especially in today's age where it's hard. There's so much hate in the world too. So the only way you can combat that is with love.
Yep.
So back to some Phantom stuff. Thank you
Yeah.
for everything you shared. That was
Yeah.
beautiful and inspiring and just amazing. Um, you mentioned that seeing Norm Lewis play the Phantom in 2014 changed everything for you. What's it like knowing that there are now young Black actors sitting in the audience watching you, looking up to you the same way?
It's really challenging for me to fully grasp and receive that. It's when oh, I get emotional thinking about it. When young black men, anybody comes to the stage door and they say that they're inspired, but when young black men come to the stage door or they send me a message, I'm like, what? It just doesn't make any sense, but it's something that I've always prayed for, is that people would, in some kind of way, be inspired by my journey to be whoever they are supposed to be, and that it would ignite them to just get in full alignment with what their journey is supposed to be and just go for it. Go for it. And it's so humbling. I'm so grateful that any little part of my life that gets to inspire others is happening. I don't really have the words to say, but I'm grateful for that, and I hope that my life continues to be an inspiration and an example of people to know that they can do it. They can do it.
I love that. That's so awesome. The Phantom is seen as a terrifying villain. When I'm
Mhm.
talking to you, that's not what I feel in real life. You are
Mhm.
so sweet, so humble, so loving. How do you tap into that vulnerability every night without making him seem so purely evil? Or is that your intent? I guess, like, what is your process becoming the Phantom?
Yeah, my process. I have walked in my life through a lot of similar uh, e- emotional experiences as the Phantom. I've experienced rejection. I've experienced not feeling loved. I've experienced feeling isolated. I've experienced trying to put on to be accepted. I have experienced these things at a very traumatizing level. And I am able to take those experiences and empathize with what the Phantom is walking through. And I think that allows me to have an authenticity and also a vulnerability to how I play the Phantom, because anybody play play a role and do what the script tells them to do and sing it as it's supposed to. But when you have walked through something in your life, there is a beautiful gift that you have been left with. And when you can use that gift to influence what you are doing, it it's kind of like just adding a little glaze to a pound cake. You don't necessarily need the glaze, but when you add the glaze to it, it just
That much better.
elevates it.
Uh-huh.
It just elevates it. And I think that is how I approach the Phantom. It's like, I know that's how I approach the Phantom. It's like I bring my life's experience to it, and I want people to see that this man is a human first. He is a human first that is just wanting to be loved, and he wants to express and show love back. He just doesn't he hasn't had that opportunity to do so. And when he's tried, he's been ostracized. He's been, you know, cast aside and just received a lot of hatred. And so, of course, he's going to be the way that he is. And I look at people like in our society, people that are just not the nicest people, or people that we look at and we're like, these people are crazy, or this, that, and the other. And it's like there's a story behind the reason why this person is the way that they are.
Yeah.
It doesn't make their behavior
Doesn't justify
right.
it. Yeah.
But when you have walked through something, and I'm not a perfect person, no one is, and I have done a lot of wrong in my life, and I have wronged people, and I can look back at my life and see where I was wrong and how I have grown from that. And I realize that people do change. People do change. People can be redeemed. But when they're not, but when you,
They have to want
they
to.
have to want to.
Yeah.
They have to want
Yeah.
to. And that's, I think, the challenge with society now is that a lot of people don't think that they need to change, and they don't want to change. And so they stay the same. And
Right.
we outside looking in are just like,
Yeah.
yo, what is
You said
wrong
it
with
true.
you?
Like looking at people, what I do now as an adult, like before I'd be like, oh man, that person mean, or why are they being, a bully, or why are they being this? But you think
Hmm.
about what now I think about like what did they go through as a kid? What are they going through
Yep.
now that's making them be this way, you
That's
know?
always the first thought. That's
Right.
always the first thought.
Right. And then you pray for them because it's like, you
Yep.
know what? I genuinely, even the people that done me wrong, I'm
Hmm.
sure this your same uh thought process with it is like I genuinely want them to I pray for them. I want the best for them because it's like if they're in a good place with themselves, they won't be treating people like that. You know
Yes.
what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like
Yes.
it's something, some type of feeling they're having or some experience that they're projecting on you. But if they're happy in their place, like they're gonna want to be spreading that positivity, that light, that confidence. So I feel you. Before we get into, I have two more questions before we get into some fun rapid fire before we wrap
Hmm.
up.
Hmm.
Um, I really want to ask this, has your understanding of the character, of your character, changed since you first started performing? Because
Mm.
I feel like it would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has. I mean, at the basis, like I am always just wanting to prove. I hate using the word, but prove like humanist. He's
Yeah.
human. He's human.
Okay.
Um, but I am learning. It seems like every quarter there's like a
Mm.
new file in my Phantom folder, in my new filing cabinet. Excuse me, in the filing cabinet. There's a new file being made of like of who he is. I'd say like something that Jordan Donica. Jordan is getting ready to be the Phantom on the West End here in a few weeks for the 40th anniversary. And we were talking the other day, and he said something so powerful to me. He's like, when when the Phantom realizes, when Christine kisses him, it's like it's a moment where his heart breaks,
Mm.
but it doesn't break in like the way like we think of heartbreak. It's like it breaks open,
Mm.
and it's like love can he can finally experience love. The shell that he has on the heart is no longer no longer needs to be there, because it's like it does exist. Love does exist. And so Christine is the heartbreaker. Woo, that's so good to me.
That is.
It's like she is like she breaks that hardness. And so I've been really sitting with that lately, and I'm like, oh,
That's so deep.
wow,
Yeah,
it's so
especially
deep.
because like theater, and a lot of listeners could know this, some may not be thinking about it. So just for context, like theater, you watch something on TV, yeah, you have to film it a few times, several times for different takes,
Mhm.
but you are traveling, you are performing the same thing over and over and over and over. So you are really living in that character. Like there is no
Yeah.
like, all right, we're filming for a month or 2 months or 3 months,
Yeah.
and then it's done. No, you
Yeah.
are in that. So I can
Yeah.
only imagine how with each season of your life or each week, depending on how you're feeling or what happened in your own personal life, how you can sort of see a different part of the character because of that. So that's
Yeah.
super cool. That's why I wanted to ask you that, but that was
Thank
super
you.
deep.
Thank
So
you.
before we get to some fun rapid fire, how do you balance your, and this might overlap a little bit with what we were talking about before, but how do you balance your mental health with that pressure of touring and performing live on a consistent basis, having to be on? Like,
Let me
'cause I
tell
worked
you.
in TV news. You are
Yes.
live, you have deadlines, you're
Yeah.
on all day, every day,
Yeah.
weekends, holiday, all hours. So I know the pressure that comes with it because sometimes you're just not okay. You're not feeling good.
Let me tell you, just this week, just a few days ago, I had a moment. I have been dealing vocally just with a lot of dust and mold. And we go into some of these theaters that are older, and my body just does not agree with it and does not want it in it. And so I've had some vocal challenges while I've been during our LA run, and it just has been bothering my brain because I will walk. I before I walk in the theater, I'm feeling fine. I'm like, this is great. It feels great. And then as soon as I get in there, it's just like everything just sucks up, and I'm like having to think about my voice or how to navigate this next note because if I don't, it's gonna be bad. And I came. I try my best not to read comments. It's really hard not to, but good or bad, I try my best not to. And the other day, I came across a TikTok video. I try not to go on there either, but just
So
someone
hard.
kind
Not
of bashing my performance, and it was it was hard for me to receive that because the the response has been so beautiful and so kind overall. And of course, there are going to be people that don't like it, and that's completely fine. Like that's fine. But what got me, it was just like it was in a way kind of influencing people or like deterring some people from coming to experience it themselves. And I was like, man, the power of social media, how one person can say something and people will latch onto this opinion as their own without even experiencing what it actually is. And that really affected me that day, and I was more upset with myself because I was affected by it, and also that I allowed myself to even go and read the comments.
yep.
But I took that on. I was trying to release it from the show, and then that night, my voice was doing some crazy weird stuff, and I ended up cracking on my note, and then I was cracking a few times, and I was like, "What is going on?" And in the back of my head, I am thinking these people are going to boo me. All those comments that I read, those negative comments that I read, they were just going through my head. I'm like, oh, this is what people are also thinking in the audience right now. And when I tell you, I get to the bows, and I'm prepared, like for it to be, just when I tell you, it was probably the biggest applause that I have received here in LA, and I was just so shocked. I was talking to Jordan, my our amazing Christine, and when I walked out, she grabbed my hand. She said, "See, I told you," because I explained to her what was going on with me, and I mentioned all of that, and I mentioned Jordan because I have a few people that I can go to in the company, but also in my life where I can be like, yo, I'm struggling today. And I'm gonna I'm gonna need your support. And they
That's
always have me just as they know that I have them. And like any anybody in my company can come to me with that, and I would be there in support. Like I can't get around to everybody like I would like to, but if somebody came up to me, I'll put down what I'm doing, and I'll make sure that they would know. that I had them and that they're loved and cared for and such. And I try to extend the same love and grace that I would love to have extended to me. And so having those people in my life that I can talk to, but prayer is a big part of it. Is a big part of my mental health journey. Of course, I have a counselor. Yeah, got to have it.
Yeah.
Got to have it. If you
Literally.
don't have one, we're gonna take a
Find
moment. If you
one.
do not have a therapist, a counselor, this is your encouragement to get one. You've been waiting.
Right.
This is your moment. This is your sign. Get it. Get
Yes,
them.
I
Get them
agree.
now.
I agree. I agree, Isaiah. That was so deep. That was so real. And one thing that stood out to me that I know every listener, whether they're a performer or not, will agree with this and they feel this. You can get a million great comments. You get one,
Mhm.
just
Yeah.
one. One,
Yeah.
and somehow our human brains
Yeah.
will latch onto that,
Yeah.
believe it, despite
Yeah.
all your talents and all your
Yeah.
glory and praise, and you'll
Yeah.
latch on, and it's crazy, right? But we're human, and as far
Mhm.
as long as we stay human, that's like part of it. So it's like the struggle of learning, and that's where counselors come in. That's where,
Yeah.
pastoral figures or priests or
Yeah.
whoever you choose to go
Yeah.
to can come in and really help you navigate that because we all do, like
Absolutely.
that's so real. I thank you for sharing that. And
Absolutely.
so now some fun rapid fire before we wrap up.
Let's
Yes, I
go.
feel like I've kept it too like you're like, all right, girl, let's get to
No, this
some
is good.
laughing.
This has been so enriching to me. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. Like it has done the same thing for me, genuinely. Um, so I love asking this question. I'm going to start with this. I ask every guest this. What has been the most embarrassing moment in your life thus far that you can think of?
In my life, most embarrassing moment. I've had so many, but one that I tend to tell people is that one time I was in a show and I had about 30 seconds to get on stage, but I was like, oh, it was like a minute and a half, and I was like, oh, okay, let me go to the bathroom really quick, and I thought I had to pee, and I had a little gas, and
Oh,
it was not gas.
oh no.
It was other things. But then at that moment when I realized I only had 30 seconds to get on stage, so I had to do that whole scene with non-gaseous things
Wait,
with
but ah,
with poopy butt.
that is a good one. That might make like one of the top ones, Isaiah.
Yeah, poopy butt Isaiah.
You have kept it 100 on this, and I love it. I love it. This like no filter here, and I love that.
None,
But it
none.
isn't, believe it or not, it's not the only poopy butt story we have gotten
Okay,
from a grown man on this.
okay.
Yeah,
I
so
mean,
yeah.
it be like that.
Yeah, it really does be like that. I told you about the food poisoning I had been
Yeah,
battling. It
bless your
gets
heart. Oh,
real.
yes.
Yeah,
You're
anyways.
real acquainted with that bathroom.
Yes. What's the craziest or funniest moment? I guess this sort of might be that too, but funniest thing you've had or moment you've had on stage during a performance. Maybe funniest.
Ooh. Um, Craziest or funniest moment happened. Oh, so many. Let me choose one. I'm trying to think of a recent one.
Or Mitch.
Oh
Poor
gosh.
Jalen shared his Lion King one and said he had a
Oh, when he
wig
vomited.
off.
When was that?
What his
What?
wait, did you have another one? You're like, hold
Yeah,
up.
there was one time he poor baby was so sick, but
Oh,
he still performed and he like came off and like vomited and our resident director, he was a shorter guy and he was like prepared to like go on for him because I forgot, I think the other Simba was not in the building or something. This was like when we all just come back in from COVID, and so like it was an interesting time. Uh Goodness. Oh,
he shared one where his wig, the one I was going to say that he told me was when his wig flew off and he's like, my mic was in my wig.
oh yes,
And
yes,
he
yes.
thought like they'd sort of, he's like, no, the wig kept going. Like, and I was like, oh, that's great. But yeah, that was
Yeah. Okay, we were in San Francisco with Lion King, and I had my cell phone off stage. I was getting ready to go on for a scene, and I didn't have anywhere to put my phone because I was in this big plant. And you know not to do this. You know it's unprofessional to do this. But I was like, okay, I don't have anywhere to put my phone right now, and I was like, couldn't trust anybody. I couldn't find anybody like to give it to, so I was like, I'll just put it into my leotard.
Yeah.
It's not going to go anywhere because it's tight.
Yeah. Oh,
Well, that cell phone came sliding out of that leotard onto the stage. So I'm in a big plant and I can't reach down to get it. So I'm trying to get my foot to grab it and kick it as I'm like running off stage. And yeah, probably the craziest moment.
that's funny. That's a great one. That is
Yep.
really good. Okay, what is an irrational fear you have? So it can't be like something common, like something weird or unique, like a unique fear.
Ooh, a unique fear. Oh, a unique fear that I have is farting on stage and it getting stuck in my cloak and then
Oh, smell it.
like people smell it.
That is a really good one. That is so good. Oh man, that's it's just like crop dusting, or is that what it's called?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. I
thing. Yeah,
think so. Yes, I think so.
I think so. Don't quote me, everyone. I think.
True. Same. Don't quote me either because
Yeah.
I'm bad with terms.
Okay, that's a great one. Okay, what is a pet peeve you have? Usually I do relationship ick, but I keep getting similar stuff. So let's switch it up. Pet peeve with anyone, not just relationships, just like something someone could do and you're like, that just get ick.
Bad customer service. I just can't. I can't. If you do not like people,
Why
you do
we're
not need to work with people. That's the
literally
biggest pet peeve. If you work with people on a daily basis, but you don't like people, and but you or you don't know how to handle and deal with people,
and most of the time it be those people that don't
it be
that are in
them.
there.
There are other jobs for
Literally.
them.
Especially now, I think post-pandemic, low key, I think post-pandemic it's gotten
It's
worse.
worse. Oh,
I
it's
do
worse.
think like before the pandemic, like life was so, I don't know, I feel like something changed in the world. People don't
Yes.
want to be around no people. They got too used
Yep.
to their own comfort and now they're like,
And
well,
I'm
I don't
like,
got to deal with
we
you.
need to find you a at-home
Yeah,
job where
stay-at-home
you can
job.
just, yeah, stay at home. Because
Agreed.
that's,
Agreed. Okay, do you have a pre-show ritual or like a meal or something drinks, anything that you do before a show that you're like, this is what helps me, it helps my voice, it helps my
yeah, gargling. Gargling salt water has been a new thing that I'm like, yes, why didn't I think of this a long time ago? That's a big part. What else? Uh, of course, my prayer time is a big part. Uh, yeah, but the gargling has been like
Okay.
lifesaver.
Okay. All right. So my last few before we wrap up, one word to describe Phantom of the Opera. One word.
Enticing.
I like that. I really like that. What is your advice as we wrap up, to those listening right now, especially young Black actors who look up to you, who are dreaming for a career like yours? What do you tell them? What would you say to them?
Um, to, if I can say this to every performer and anybody actually listening, you must know who you are outside of what you do. What you do is a beautiful expression of who you are, but who you are is most important. And knowing is not the only thing, but you have to love who you are. And that will only influence and strengthen what you do.
That's so true. It's just like when they say like you can't have a successful relationship until you learn to love yourself
Yes.
fully. It sort of resonates with that, with your career, with
Yes.
anything you do in life. If you don't
Yes.
love yourself and love what you do, it's going to be hard to find success in it.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
beautiful. Isaiah, you've been so amazing. I genuinely, truly, truly from the heart like enjoyed our conversation and You're so inspirational, and like I'm just blessed to have connected with you today.
Same. I'm so grateful for you. So grateful. Thank you for having me. I really count it an honor and a privilege to be on your show and to have met you. I'm just so honored. I look forward to meeting you in person so I can give you the biggest hug.
Literally, I'm a big hugger, so I
Yeah.
wish I could end this with a hug. I will
Yeah.
virtually, but it's an
Yeah.
honor and privilege for me to have you on and to have connected with you. And you are doing such beautiful work, and also just the fact that you, I don't know, what's the word? Like you emit or no, like you radiate love.
Thank you.
Like, yeah, it's just
Thank you.
truly inspiring. So keep me posted on everything that you
I
do.
will. Same. Same. I'm so excited to continue to support you in your journey as
Likewise.
well.
Thank you, Isaiah. You are
Absolutely.
amazing. Enjoy the rest of your
Likewise.
evening, and I can't wait for us to all get to meet and
Yes.
I'll give you a big
Same.
hug then.
Same. Likewise.
All right,
Have a
take
great rest
care.
of your day. You
You as
too. Thank
well.
you. Bye bye.